are live. What's up, everyone? Coach David here with Metro Jiu-Jitsu, and we have obviously Professor Muhammad.
Hey, everybody.
And a very special guest, Preece. How are we doing today, Katie?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me on, guy.
Absolutely. Something I want to point out is we got kind of full setup over here, and so if you want to know which camera is actually pointing, just look at the red dot if you're trying to make eye contact. Yeah, so that'll kind of give you some. Yeah, they don't go live until you see it, but you can kind of see the cameras there. So we have been longtime Facebook friends, I know. And I think it's our first time meeting in person, at least directly in person. I'm sure we've seen each other.
Yeah, I think I've seen you around at some tournaments and things, out and about. But yeah, this is our first time like sitting down and getting to know a little bit about each other for sure.
Yeah, and we did a lot of messaging back and forth about what we're going to talk about today. Obviously, you're pretty involved in jiu-jitsu community, grappling community, health and wellness space, and excited to. I was up like midnight last night learning about peptides, and I was like, I don't even know what these are.
It's a pretty cool rabbit hole to go down, isn't it?
I was like, well, when you start talking about what you call the Wolverine hack, and that's not a Michigan term, that's a recover like the Wolverine. Like I'm down. I kind of need to hear about that. So. But before we get into that, let's go. Can we talk first about let's talk about, it's a jiu-jitsu podcast as it sits. And so how long have we been doing jiu-jitsu? How did we get into it? And then how did that, segue into your involvement in the health and wellness space?
Yeah, so I started jiu-jitsu in 2015. And ultimately I wanted to learn self-defense, and I was a businesswoman in a man's world, and I was really tired of being pushed around by men, to be honest. I really wanted to learn how to defend myself. I didn't, and stand up for myself.
What industry were you in at the time?
Well, the cannabis industry. Yep. I've been in the cannabis industry for a while, and it's kind of like the Wild West. And like I said, I wanted to learn how to defend myself and get some confidence in that. I was probably a little inspired by Ronda Rousey. I'm not gonna lie. I was like,
Ronda
Rousey.
Yeah.
You kind of look like her.
Oh,
Have
wow.
you been told that before?
No,
no
Ronda.
one's ever told me that
Ronda.
before.
No, Ronda. Boy, she looks like a man. Ronda. Bro, have you seen her jawline? Have you seen maybe she's different?
You're talking about a UFC fighter.
I know she'll throw me through the window, but I'm just she. It's if you like it as a compliment, but I don't think.
I'll take it as a compliment. I look a little more feminine. I like it.
Yes,
okay.
that's exactly what I was saying. Thank you for interpreting that in a compliment way.
But yeah, but I was like, it was right around that time where Ronda Rousey was getting big, and I saw that fight with Holly Holmes, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, and
that was forever ago.
Yeah.
When that
2015. That's the year I started jiu-jitsu. It was that summer that I saw that fight, and I was like, okay, this is the sport.
I wonder how many more females she inspired to train.
Yeah,
a lot.
Probably a lot.
I would imagine a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, so I started out at Victorious MMA in Troy because there weren't places around like there are now, and I was doing 2-a-days, and I was doing jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, and then someone did a double leg on me my second day at Muay Thai, and I hurt myself, and I was like, I'm gonna just get comfortable on the ground.
Wow.
Because I'm a big girl, and when I fall it hurts.
Was it a girl who double legged you?
Yeah, it was a girl. It was another woman.
It's a little better.
Yeah. But I didn't know how to fall, it was only my second day, but stuff happens, right? So I said I'm going to get comfortable on the ground first, and I stuck with jiu-jitsu, and I never really looked back to the striking.
Muay Thai, yeah. Victorious, that's, I can picture his face. Who's the coach up there? I can't.
Victor Torres.
Vic, yeah. Vic is, Vic. So Craig Funk used to train. He was.
Yeah.
I was
there when he was there.
Yeah. So Funk used to train with Vic, and one time Vic, I'll never forget it. It was a Fuji tournament, and he was like, "What was he saying?" He was like, "Pass the leg," and Vic's voice carries through. Pass the leg, and it's carrying through the whole stadium, and then. The mat, it calms down, whatever the exchange was over, and I was like, "Hey Vic, what'd you want him to do?" I've never said anything to Vic, and he didn't know how to take me. He was like, like looking at me like get off my case, man.
You can hear.
He's got a voice that carries.
Oh yeah,
for
sure. You
sure.
can hear passion, and sometimes if he's frustrated, he's gonna let you know during that match.
He's legit, man, for sure. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. So that's where I started out, and then as the journey went along, there were jiu-jitsu places started to pop up closer to me, and and throughout that too, I was going through my own health struggles. So
You
yeah.
look great.
Thank you. So I used to be really heavy. I used to be 370 pounds.
Yeah.
So I lost a bunch of weight, and I went in for like the mommy makeover, and I got breast implants. And these breast implants made me so sick; they almost killed me.
I saw a again, like I kind of see your stuff occasionally, and and I
370 pounds.
Yes, yeah.
I'm telling you, dude, you should like I've seen because I've seen even I think you lost a lot of weight before we became like Facebook friends, and then I've seen even since then you've really toned up and leaned up and everything, and so, but then I did see something about the breast implants and you. Because I'm sure there's like a stigma to it, right? But you spoke up. You're like, "Hey, listen," and I can't remember the full details. What happened? Like they made you ill?
Yeah.
Like,
so what happens is breast implants are made up of silicone. Whether the outer shell is silicone and they're filled with saline, which was my case, or it's silicone with a silicone filling. And silicone breaks down in your body over time. Not only that, it's a foreign object. It creates an immune response. The body forms a capsule over that. And then, like I said, the silicone starts to break down in your body over time. And it causes all this. Ultimately, it causes cancer of the immune system eventually. But
are you saying breast implants can cause cancer?
Yeah, so I actually helped lobby the FDA to put a black box warning on implants.
Wow.
So, we've been working on legislation in Michigan for about 5 years to require surgeons to give proper informed consent to women that are getting breast implants.
Which
about
you
what
didn't
could really
have.
Correct. And when I got them, in like 2007, I think it was, or 2008, there wasn't access to the information like we have now. Like now, through the power of social media and all these women coming together, we're able to say like, no, this is a real thing. This is really going on. And we were able to like uncover how, the first big class action lawsuit in the 90s, how they kind of like silenced those women and just rebranded breast implants. This is something that we've known about for a long time.
I'm unfamiliar with that. What was the
Dow Corning scandal?
These women they got sick from breast implants at the time?
Yeah, so like the medical community, when people have when they have breast cancer, they immediately like advocate for reconstruction with breast implants. And to put something that causes cancer into someone that just went through cancer and chemotherapy and is already weakened, not a good idea, right? And then all these women think that they're sick from the after effects of chemotherapy and having cancer when really it's like the breast implants keeping them sick. And it's like this big thing, it's like, it's really a thing. And it's like, it's a financial transaction between you and the doctor, and people they take their doctor's word and trust them like they're God.
We do treat doctors like gods. Well,
yeah,
less so, thankfully. That's one good thing I think that's happened in the past 5 years is there's been a pretty shaken trust in the white coats, right? Like not all. I mean, as we need them, right?
We need them. There's still a place.
But trust but verify, I think, is a good.
And the information now, is so available everywhere else. Where what's in a doctor's head is there's more out there information that's in a doctor's head than there ever was before. My my uncle who just passed away, the last week of his life, we knew he was declining. So I'm like, let me just get ChatGPT and put this information in. And I literally was putting in every single vital, every single update on his health. And literally it would give me the information that the doctors were without sugarcoating anything that's coming back. And it was amazing because I was putting in the dosage, the medicine, the symptoms, the previous conditions. So, we felt we didn't need a doctor to tell us what's going on and what our next steps were. You know, because
Was he currently in the hospital at that point?
He was. He's the one who passed away.
Yeah.
And like the point is that physicians and the hospital system is a business.
Yes.
And
It is.
Yes.
it's a straight business. Whether you're talking about elective procedures like what you had done, or in the hospital, the decisions, the betting, the stays is all about business and numbers.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's sad,
Absolutely.
but yeah, we don't need them like we did in the past.
There, I think there's, because you get. I mean, I generally, I think now. Well, let's continue because I don't want to steal the thunder of later into the show, because I think this is where peptides would come in a lot as well. So you kind of got ill from.
Yeah, so I was struggling with my health, and throughout my early jujitsu.
What kind of stuff you could share?
Yeah. So autoimmune symptoms. My hair was falling out, rashes, constant fatigue, joint pain, gastrointestinal issues. Yes, and I mean, they told me, oh, well, you have rheumatoid arthritis, you have lupus, all these different medications, At one point, I was in a pain clinic. I was on stuff like fentanyl and morphine, So when I got my, and I'm sorry, rewind a little bit right before jiu-jitsu, right? And when I got my medical marijuana card in 2009. So I did not use cannabis recreationally before medical marijuana. And when I got my card, I used cannabis to detox out of the pain clinic. And
I've heard that.
It saved my life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I see the after effects now of the opiate epidemic, and my brother passed away from it, unfortunately. So I really truly believe that route saved my life. So when I got into jiu-jitsu, I literally was going in there with the clipboard, having, asking people that I didn't even know were police officers, like, here you go, you want to sign for this? You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, I'm totally for it, to get it on the ballot to legalize it. Okay. So anyways, I'm going through, I'm doing jujitsu and I'm struggling with my health, and I'm going from doctor to doctor, and the diagnoses are just adding up, like all these different things. And eventually I landed in the oncology department. And I thought I was there to get an iron infusion, and he made my daughter leave the room. She was probably like 9 or 10 at the time. And he said, you understand why you're here, right? And I'm like, yeah, to get iron. And he's like, no, people in your condition either have cancer or advanced HIV. He's like, you don't think you have HIV, right? And I'm like, well, no. But he's like, but I knew that I had an issue with the implants. I knew that they were leaking at that point. No one wanted to take them out. The first estimate I got was like $18,000 to remove them. And so I remember at one point, it was like that jiu-jitsu I felt like was the only thing that was keeping me going, because like going there, being able to like focus on that and only that was really just like a part of my medicine too. You know what I mean? So eventually, through social media and the power of social media, I figured out that it was the implants making me sick. And in 2019, I got myself the best gift ever for Valentine's Day and decided to love myself, and I got the implants removed. And
how'd you find? Because you said a lot of people they probably wouldn't want to touch someone else's work, and then I'm sure there's liability.
Yeah, it was hard.
How'd you track down the right doctor or person to?
Social media, through the power of social media, finding a group with like 100,000 women that were suffering from the same symptoms as I, list of 40 symptoms. And we started to develop a network of doctors that believed in the implant illness and started to take them out.
Well, because that's the thing, too. I mean, and I think that's a really important, I don't believe in broad brushing anything. Medical business is very much a business, very much so. Yeah. But there are medical professionals who, they take a common sense approach to it, and they really got into it, not for the money, more to actually help people. And you can find them there's actually a lot of research to say that you're injecting a foreign object into your body. This is bad. These should not be. And then even bring it to modern day with their stances on vaccines, which is they've been the holy grail of of like, yeah, you need these to stay healthy. Now, not everyone's believing that as much, you know? And so I think to your point, painting with a broad brush, like we're not condemning the entire system as a whole, but trust but verify, I think is a really good stance on that.
And right out of high school, so I should mention this too. I went into school for radiology. I was majoring in radiology, so like diagnostic imaging and procedures, radiation, and throughout that journey too, I was battling with the implants and the health issues, and being a patient.
Right out of high school.
Yeah, so I mean, I got the I lost the weight. I started losing the weight when I was 17, and I got this surgery to remove the excess skin and the implants and everything when I was like 20.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
So I was going to school for radiology. I started to have all these autoimmune symptoms. So it was like I was in the healthcare setting, working in a clinical setting, taking care of patients, but I was also such a patient myself, and like dependent on pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
And 4 years in, my eyes I just was like, wow, like I don't think I can do this. Like we're actually like harming people. We're putting them through unnecessary testing. We're radiating them over and over and over.
How much in your experience in that did you run through, like you said, unnecessary testing just to run the bill up?
All the time. Like when you're sitting there and you're doing, like for instance, we do like the live fluoroscopy, like a live x-ray, tons of radiation on like an 87-year-old stage 4 metastatic cancer that's spread all over her body, and we're biopsying her liver. You can't numb the liver. This is a painful procedure. You know what I mean? Why are we doing it? Well, we're doing it because we believe in profits over patients. You know what I mean? Like that's like the cold hard truth. So yeah, so at that point, when my health issues really started to reach a peak, and I started to I had to change what I was doing, and I had to learn. I started to study, and I started to look at what I could do holistically to heal myself. And, and it brought me to my knees. I was raised Baptist, and a strong, religion was a big part of my upbringing. And I just remember getting on my knees and saying, God, please let them figure out what is wrong with me, or just take me home. I mean, that's how much I was suffering. It's making me a little emotional saying it, but so when I reached that peak, I kind of just like hit this point where I don't know if it was, God speaking to me or what, but it was just like I just knew that anything that could go wrong, any kind of dysfunction in your body, that there was a spot in nature like that God had made to heal that,
Yeah. Well, that's and thank you for sharing, Katie. And that is a huge. I think there's, as I was looking up, I was learning about peptides last night. I was talking to Amanda about this, and we just kind of got on the topic of even supplements and things like that, and she's like, well, where does that play into, because there were no supplements 2,000 years ago. There was just vegetables and fruits and meats and things. Like there was no like pill for that. And she's like, well, didn't God design the body to heal itself? And kind of do like he didn't design to just. I mean, sure, there's from this is not a religious podcast, but like we believe in the fall, and it's a fallen world, it's a cursed world, and so like we're all gonna die, but at some point along, like the body was designed to kind of take care of itself, right? I get cut, it heals itself up. There's a scar, I get sick, I have an immune system, I kind of rebound from that. And there's just this, it's an overwhelming, and I don't know how long it's been that way in Western culture, but it's just, there's a pill for that. There's a procedure for that. We got to get out here, and it's like the only option. Right. Because if you go in an alternative route, you're a kook, or you're not FDA approved, or you're not educated. Like, show me your degree, and so like there's this kind of like brick wall of like, go over there in the corner, let the professional do the thing. Meanwhile, the professionals have, it would appear, they have malicious intent. at the very least, they don't have their clients' or patient's best interest in mind. At the very minimal, and it makes you wonder whose hands are being greased in the process. How is the decision making happening? And so that would be. So where did that lead you to? After that moment, like we started. So I know you started using medical marijuana to get out of fentanyl, which is
huge. So
huge.
I started using medical marijuana to reduce all the symptoms I was feeling from the breast implants and all the autoimmune conditions and symptoms, and it really it helped me get off of all of that. So how does that transition into are we into ganja grappler? Or
Yeah, so let's touch on ganja grappler because
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
it's an appropriate segue. You're
Yeah,
going medical
so
marijuana, and then you have a.
So
you're in
let's
a
talk
tournament.
about ganja grappler, right? So I was the person going into, like I said, the academy with the clipboard, asking people like, "Hey, help me get this on the ballot," and I started to see.
When you say ballot, what do you mean by that? Like where ballot where?
So the ballot, for us to vote on. So
Okay.
once you get 256,000 signatures from registered voters, that gives us the opportunity to put the decision on the ballot for everyone to decide. Okay.
That's all it takes, huh?
That's what it takes. So there's two ways to pass a bill, right? Either you lobby the legislature, or you collect the signatures, and it's
To get it
we decide. Yeah.
For medicinal purposes or for not medicinal, recreational.
Yeah, so 2019 we passed it recreationally. 2008 we passed the Medical Marijuana Act in Michigan, and that allowed us to use it for medical purposes to treat things like cancer, glaucoma, chronic pain, HIV, all those things. And then in 2019 we passed it recreationally. And after seeing all the medicinal benefits of of cannabis, and how it helps with cancer, it really kind of just it opened my eyes so much to all the different medical benefits. And then I started to research, and I found out that we have an endocannabinoid system. So we were actually genetically pre-wired to consume cannabinoids, and they're found in things like broccoli and flaxseed. But cannabis is the most abundant source of cannabinoids, right? Delta-9 THC is one of the active compounds in cannabis.
How does when you say broccoli and some of those vegetables, I know when you start to put some healthy foods in your body, it's funny because sometimes your body actually craves a specific vegetable or it craves a fruit. So that when I was in the nutrition industry, I would tell clients is that one, your body could be really deficient, or your body's saying that specific form of, say, vitamin C or vitamin E or D is the form that your body agrees with to give it to you. So, so what other forms of vegetables, if you know that, or fruits, is it cannabinoids?
Yeah, so cannabinoids. Yeah. So, like I said, broccoli and flaxseed, just off the top of my head, have higher amounts of CBD. They contain CBD, which is a cannabinoid.
I didn't know that.
And CBD is the abundant compound that we recognize hemp for, right? Yeah. But hemp also has just a little bit of the Delta-9 THC, which is a psychoactive compound that's regulated in cannabis. And that's what differentiates marijuana from hemp, is the amount of Delta-9 THC.
So
so your endocannabinoid system, though, just back really quick, you're pre-wired with an endocannabinoid system, and that's a master regulator to all the other systems in your body. So it's pretty. And your mother produces homogeneous endocannabinoids in breast milk.
How do you?
Yes.
So just to clarify, because the main reason, and maybe we'll find out here. The main reason I don't use cannabis is because it's like you smoke weed, you get high, right?
Right.
Which I don't.
Because of the Delta-9 THC.
Yeah, the THC, which is the trip drug, right? Yeah, that's what makes you trip. Is that? But the CBD is the medical chemical. Is it kind of what that we're calling it? Is the medical portion in cannabis that kind of helps, or is it?
So cannabis has over 100 cannabinoids that we know of. CBD is just one of them.
Got it. Okay.
Delta 9 THC is just one of them. THCA is just one of them. CBN is just one of them.
Is there a way to use cannabis without getting
No. Yes, there is. Absolutely. So the Delta 9 THC isn't activated until the cannabis is heated. So you can consume cannabis in its raw form, juice cannabis.
You can chew it?
You can juice cannabis. And you can put it into foods, and it helps with so many different things.
Wait
it
a
helps
second.
stimulates appetite for people that are wasting.
Let me get clarification.
Mhm.
I'm gonna call it a dime bag. I'm old school. So you get a dime bag, you put it in your little thing, you roll it up or whatever, and when it's heated, that's when it's activated.
Yes.
But you're saying you could actually take that piece of THC or marijuana, put it in a
Blender.
and you will not get high?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, which you'll get all
Are
the
you
health
kidding
benefits.
me?
No, I'm not. Pretty cool, huh?
That's, I mean, like
Yeah.
that would, I'm scared to try. I'll be honest, I'm
So-
scared to try. I'm scared. I'm going to make a smoothie and just start tripping. Not trip. You don't
No,
trip,
you
but
won't.
Like,
you won't because it's you're not gonna have
I've
that
never heard
psychoactive effect. No, but it's gonna help your joints feel better.
I've
It's gonna
never
reduce
heard
all
that.
the inflammation in
What
your
about
body.
the edibles? Why, if you're eating the edibles?
So the edibles, there's a process called decarboxylation, which happens when you heat the plant. And the edibles, the plant is put through that process to activate the Delta 9 THC before it's put into that form.
So
I've never. Like I'm, and just
Yeah,
so,
well, I can
couldn't
geek out
repeat
about
what she
this
said,
all
but
day.
I've
It
never
makes
heard.
sense.
So that would, I mean, it'd be an expensive smoothie, but like you could.
No, it's not. You can grow cannabis in your backyard, up to 12 plants. What are you talking about?
Well, that sounds
Until
like
today?
Oh yeah.
No, right now you can grow 12 plants in your backyard in Michigan. That was part of why I collected
Yeah.
signatures for 10 years to allow safe
my
access
Now,
for
some
everyone.
of those guys I knew were making some big money.
My dad. Oh, they're not anymore. They're not. No.
Oh, the cannabis industry has changed
Yeah, they're not
drastically.
anymore. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, and I just want to get this out there. So I've had back problems, insomnia, and so I tried cannabis to help with my back and to sleep
Yes.
on a couple different occasions. And at the time, I didn't tell anybody. And
He told me.
I did.
Well, yeah, we're boys.
I know.
Like
Keep it a
I
big
kept it a
secret.
secret until you decided to post it live on the internet. So go, David.
So so I had like major issues with insomnia and back problems, and I did not want to go into like my miracle drug before that was Motrin. 800.
Oh, so bad for you.
Oh my god, Motrin.
Deteriorates all your joints.
It still is the miracle drug. But that's why I'm like, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So I tried it, the cannabis, and it didn't work. And I tried so we had some people who actually work in the industry,
Mhm.
and I've gotten different forms. I've gotten different forms of edibles, and this was years
Topicals.
ago. And the one thing that it would completely disrupt my mindset, and I could not function after taking cannabis. And I just was wondering if you could talk about that, and if
Smoking. You smoked it.
well, it was like edibles.
Edibles.
smoking.
Edibles. I
I've
see.
tried many different ways at the time, and the one thing is like I would not be able to function
I would-
as
It's
a
all
human being.
about the dose, guys. Microdosing is amazing, right? Once you're like a seasoned stoner, you can function high. You know,
You
but
don't give off at all like a seasoned stoner. Like
No?
my seasoned stoner, I think of the Breakfast Club. Like the guy from the Breakfast Club. That's what I picture as a burnout. So you don't give that vibe at all.
well, thanks. So, but when you use cannabis, like cannabis enhances my performance on the mats. It allows me to get into that flow state easier. It allows me to be really creative. I always joke with people
I
like
could see that.
I'm a
That
pothead.
portion I could see because it like for me it made my brain race like speed or like it would like.
we just need to play with the dose a little for you.
I tried like literally the smallest possible dose. I went to from a half of a brownie to a quarter to a bite to one little gummy, and anytime it went in my system, I just could not.
So another problem you might be experiencing is a lot of times with those bigger companies too, they use a THC, a delta 9 THC, and it's a concentrate. All the other cannabinoids have been boiled off. So when we take cannabis in that like synthetic form and we start isolating the compounds, that's when we start to run into the negative side effects, right? Cannabis has like a synergistic effect, and those cannabinoids are supposed to work together. CBD specifically counteracts the psychoactive effects of THC. Some people, like if you take some cannabis and you get too high and you're like blown out of your mind, you start to get anxious, you can actually take a little bit of black pepper because that has CBD in it, and it will bring down the psychoactive effects of the THC, the negative side effects.
Have you seen that with any during your time at the Ganja Grapplers, or
someone take too much?
Excuse me, someone take too much, or it's just doesn't work for them.
Yeah, so
because that was my conclusion. I tried to help my body medically, and my conclusion after talking to many different people that I trusted and worked in the industry, for my mind and the way it affects my body, it just...
Like I said, I guarantee it's because you're using an isolated form of delta 9 THC, and cannabis is meant to be consumed. It's a synergistic effect, you know what I mean? So that's probably why you experience the negative side effects.
So you've never
No, I have had people, there's things called cannabis hyperemesis syndrome, to where it's like if you get too much delta 9 THC in your system, it can start to cause negative effects like abdominal discomfort, vomiting, things like that. No, that is a thing. But I'm just saying we're genetically pre-wired with an endocannabinoid system. That plant does work with your body, but when we start to manipulate it, that's really when things, I think, start to go wrong, and you start to experience more of the side effects.
So the Ganja Grappler, you got a bunch of people that are
like jujitsu and pot.
Yeah. Is it? Have you ever been to? Didn't you coach one of those? No. So what's it like to have everybody?
Coach Jimmy did, though, I think.
What it's like to have everybody high and doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing.
It's such a fun time.
So,
people say it's like unlike anything they've ever experienced. I get people that travel from all over the United States to compete. And it's a really fun time, and it's great because we get to like break the stigmas of the lazy stoner that kind of surround cannabis, and let people see that you can use cannabis as recovery and as to enhance your performance, and give people that choice of like pharmaceuticals over plants.
How many tournaments have you had, and when's the next one?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, we started in like 2021. I don't know what the official count is. I'd have to think too hard about that. So, but we've done a couple of years since then. We haven't done one yet this year because I'm kind of working on a bigger thing. I don't have a date set in stone yet, but I will definitely share it with you guys when I do. But yeah, we're going a little bigger this year. But we do, in the past, we've done quite a few outdoor events, which were really nice because, most stoners love nature. I love nature,
I don't really know. I don't know about something I got questions. Someone who's like, do you like nature? No, give me concrete buildings.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
You took a whole bunch of people to school, what was it that...
the picture rock site.
Yeah, in nature. You're
I'm into. I just hate the city. It's a stark contrast.
Yeah,
if I never saw a city again, I'd probably be all right with it.
So I got to ask another question, because we have viewers who train jiu-jitsu, who've trained jiu-jitsu, who are interested in jiu-jitsu. We also have parents and families who are who watch our podcast. So I'm the Ganja Grappler because competing is it's part of jiu-jitsu for me. Do you have kids at these Ganja Grappler tournaments? And as a parent, I'd like to know, and as working with parents, has kids ever competed at the tournament? And can you speak to having kids in that atmosphere? And at an early age, what message are you or is that platform sending to kids to watching them compete high?
Yeah. So, as I said, my introduction to cannabis was cannabis as medicine. And I've seen so many people come to me in the jiu-jitsu community too that are like, oh, look, I've suffered from seizures my whole life. Like, I use cannabis as medicine. This is how I train. So, like, the fun aspect of it is just like a plus. You know what I mean? But as far as the kids and bringing in kids, my children have always been raised to know that cannabis is medicine. And I think that, you know, the tables have turned over the last couple of years, especially since we legalized it recreationally. And a lot of people treat it like alcohol.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So you've raised your kids to treat cannabis as medicine, which I'll agree with that. So has your stance changed with your kids? And if you had to go back now that it's like legalized for recreational use, do you see it and preach it that way?
I don't believe in kids using cannabis or promoting cannabis to kids unless they have a medical necessity. I mean, I've helped people with stage 4 gliomas in their brain go into remission with cannabis. It is a very powerful medicine, and I would never want to turn that medicine away from anybody or discourage them. You know, we've seen miraculous things with kids, you know, being disabled by seizures, use cannabis to regain a normal life and have quality of life. So in no way, shape, or form would I ever want to turn anybody away from that. As far as ganja grip, I try to keep kids away. Once in a while, people will show up with a kid, and I'm like, oh my gosh, don't take any pictures of them, get them away. You know, because I don't want to make it, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to in any shape or form promote this to young people in jiu-jitsu. I think cannabis has a place in medicine. I think it's a better choice than alcohol if you're going to use a recreational drug. I think alcohol is one of the most dangerous substances because it's socially accepted.
What class is alcohol? It's a class, what I forget which way they go. It's like 1, 2, 3, or 4. Alcohol is like a class high, whatever. I can't remember if one's the highest or 4 is the highest.
It's poison.
Yeah,
it's poison.
Yeah. So before we like move into like the peptides, so I'm curious to know at what point we started, say 10, 15 years ago, the whole path of cannabis for medicine. So now it's cannabis for recreation. So who, like, at what point you personally
did it switch over
for you? Like,
right.
You know, did you, because for medicinal and then recreational. So when did you decide? Was it the government that said, "Hey, now we're going to approve for recreational," and then that changed your value on how you saw it? Or like, at what point did it change?
So at some point, you know, when we're sitting in this room in Detroit with all these attorneys, and we're like thinking of like, how can we help everybody else, you know, get safe access to this medicine? Because even though we had the medical program in place, people were still getting raided. People were still getting their children taken away. So in order to open up and provide safe access to more people, we truly started to believe that recreational was the only way to go. And so that's for the legal standpoint, really, in my mind. And the more that I got to use cannabis as medicine, like I said, I just thought that it should be available and, you know, openly available to anybody who wanted to use that in place of pharmaceuticals, because it can replace so many pharmaceuticals, and it's way safer for your body, and, you know.
So where was the switch to say it can also make me feel good even if I don't need it to recover? And when did you start to promote it there?
Yeah, so you know, after I got the breast implants out and I really started to heal and stuff, I felt like my body, I'm like, okay, like I don't need this to get out of bed in the morning, because before I was like so sick from the implants and my body I was in so much pain, and I really couldn't function without cannabis. You know, once I got off the opiates, I was like, I depended on it to do daily functions. You know, and now that I'm in a healthier state, I don't feel like my body requires as much to sustain that like same level, that same like psychoactive experience. And you know, I also like it gives me a little bit different of a viewpoint, you know what I mean? But like I said, I don't necessarily I think that all cannabis use, whether you call it or not, is medical use. I guess that's the best way to say it. Like, we might call it recreational for legality purposes, but it's benefiting your body in a medicinal way. You know what I mean? Like, it's helping regulate. It's a master regulator. Like I said, you have an endocannabinoid system that regulates
that answer right there is essentially like a really tricky jujitsu move that she just pulled off. So you answered my question, but that's that's a sneaky jiu-jitsu practitioner pulling off a move on you. That's a compliment.
Did the best I could.
Yeah, but no, I was just curious to know, to speak on it, because coming from a different position, like as Muslims, we believe in the benefits of like black seed and honey and dates, and they have very, very effective uses for the human body. We also believe that that there's a saying that says God has created a cure for everything except death. So when God says it's your time, it doesn't matter what you do, what you take. God puts an expiration date on every single person. So, I think the cannabis use, actually, not to get on that topic, but in the Muslim world or population, that is still, I think that's kind of new for us. So I'm curious to see where that goes.
Yeah.
And in Christianity, God says that every fruit-bearing seed shall be used for your good, and that's cannabis. And there's records of it being in like holy oil.
But there's opioids
stuff,
too.
right?
There's heroin. That's a seed.
Oh well, I mean, hey, that's a good.
So I would, but yeah, like the opioids that come from pills, those are man-made. So I'm sure there's I'm sure there has been over hundreds and hundreds of years of uses of these type of plants.
We found cannabis in like the tombs in Egypt. Even.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. There's my biggest question, and I guess, I just kind of like I smoked through high school, and I was like, it was.
Oh, so you were a recreational user as a teen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it was just, it led to a series of poor decisions. So, as
your
a
brain chemistry. Not good for growing brains, unless, like I said.
Well, that would explain a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you, Katie.
I think that I would love to hear that from anybody in the cannabis industry, is like how it affects the growing brains, because it's available for recreational use for adults, and however or wherever that stage it could affect growing brains and alter them. I think it should be
similar to alcohol. It affects the growing brain probably similar to alcohol. I think alcohol might be a little worse, but But like I said, the amazing thing is we all have that ability to heal,
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the disease and things going on in the body and symptoms are manifestations of like nutrient deficiencies and mineral deficiencies, which are deficient in our soils and in our foods. And,
one orange, you'd probably need 10 oranges today to get the same nutritional value of
exactly.
One orange 20 years ago would be 10 today. So where did it transition into, okay, this helps the body? Where do peptides come in?
Yeah, so peptides. Let's talk peptides. So, as I said, I transitioned out of radiology. I'm a licensed myomassologist now, which is a fancy word for a massage therapist. But I also do nutrition, and being in the health and wellness industry, about a year ago, I started learning about peptides, and I kind of went down this rabbit hole with peptides, and I think it really began to explode with social media because they're just so wonderful and they're so miraculous. And people are avoiding surgeries and everything else with peptides. And I think the reason peptides, we first created like this sequencing to like formulate the peptides in like 1960. So we've been doing this for a minute, right?
Explain a peptide like you're talking to a 10 or 12-year-old for our listeners who don't know much about it.
I was literally having to like ask ChatGPT like a 9-year-old. Like I don't know what even this is. Where do they
you're
come
very
from?
knowledgeable in this area. This is
Right, so peptides are short chains of amino acids, which amino acids are the building blocks of protein. Protein is the second most abundant molecule in your body, right? So these short chains of amino acids are sequenced in a way that they act like a cellular messenger to have your body perform a specific function that it would perform under like perfect circumstances, right? Like if we didn't have like all these microplastics that we're working against and these endocrine disruptors with the scents we're spraying on ourselves every day and the deodorant and the toothpaste.
We need to start a podcast that says Katie ruins everything. Like, just have that one. As I'm drinking, well, I know because Amanda, I think she follows you. And then she's always telling me like heated plastics on the list. She's like, you're getting microplastics for your hot coffee and the lid. Like,
and the food prep containers.
We had to buy. She threw out all of our Tupperware. We bought like these.
Amanda.
Yeah,
my daughter made us get
way
rid
too
of
much
straws
money
and buy steel straws.
Yeah.
And because of that, and they go inside the animal's body in the ocean. And stuff like that.
Right,
Yeah.
but we just like the way we live and our lifestyles, we're working against so much stuff that is disrupting our hormonal function and disrupting our bodies, operating like the well-tuned machines that they really are and at their full potential. So the peptides will tell your body to get there. So there's different types of, there's different classes, right? There's like endogenous peptides that you produce yourself, like the BPC 157, which stands for Body Protection Compound. That's a peptide that's produced in your gastric juices. Insulin is a peptide and a hormone, okay? That's produced by your body. And then there's peptides. When we say synthetic peptides, people don't like that word synthetic, but really it just means like they were produced in a lab. And then there's peptide-like drugs like semaglutide, which replicate the GLP-1 agonist and help suppress, the sugar cravings, help with the glucose resistance or glucose intolerance, help with the glucose levels in your blood.
What helps with what peptide helps with sugar cravings? Because I know when I was in the industry, that is like
semaglutide.
That's a major
retatrutide.
Yeah, that's a major problem with people. Is you take carbs and the artificial stuff that they put in there that says no sugar, they actually turn into sugar in your body, become insulin resistant, and sugar cravings are like sugar is a devil for your body.
Yeah. Artificial sweeteners and salt restrictions, right? We restrict salt. We need salt to live, and without enough salt, you become insulin resistant over time too. So that's like a big thing in a lot of these industries. We're like, restrict your salt, restrict your salt.
Coconut water and pickle juice are my favorite hydrating supplements, by the way.
Nice.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
The synthetic is, you're like, well, all that means is it's made in a lab.
How do we source it?
How, where, how and where? I don't know. Like, how do you make something? And where does it come from? You're building something, where does the material or stuff come from?
So it's sourced from meat and plants. It's ethically sourced from meat and plants. Now I do work with other things too, like stem cells and exosomes. And we do clinical trials with those, and we actually source it from fetal cord blood.
I've taken those. I've had.
Yeah, very expensive though. Very expensive. So peptides in relation to those, way less expensive. They're way more affordable. They're practical, and we can source them more ethically.
So when it says synthetic, because I was looking up a couple of them, and I can't remember the acronyms, but all that means is I'm going to take a crude analogy, right? So if I take, you take something natural like peanut butter, and you take something natural like chocolate, and you put them together, and now I've got a peanut butter chocolate product that it's synthetic. But did I take two natural things and make them together to create this synthetic peptide effectively, or is that
correct? So you're going along the same path. So too, sometimes the synthetic can mean, like, for instance, we have this one peptide called CJC1295. That is not a peptide that your body naturally produces. It's produced in a lab, and it makes your body produce growth hormone. It stimulates your body to produce growth hormone. So, and like I said, whereas like insulin, we can make that in a lab too, but it's something that's endogenous to your body. You know what I mean? Something your body makes as well. And that's a peptide and a hormone. It acts as a hormone, but chemically, like the molecule is a peptide.
So how are peptides consumed, and how are they, and then what is the dosage look like? When do you use them with your training? Because I mean, we were talking before the show about, like, it's a pity fest and I'll say this, like, I don't stretch probably the way I should. But there's a lot of things I could be doing that are better. But there's a drastic difference in how my body feels at 35 than 27 even, or 28. Like it's pretty beat up. Now granted, I train a lot more, but I'm like, it'd be nice if like my hips didn't hurt. Or my knees didn't feel like.
Well, I can definitely help you.
Like
out
they're
with
closed. So how is it consumed or taken or whatever?
So a lot of people are familiar with like collagen peptides that you can buy off of Amazon, and you take them, you put them in your smoothie. These peptides are different. They're injectable. I do clinical research with these peptides, and that's how I can make them available, because a lot of the peptides are not approved yet. We're hoping through this research to make them more accessible to more people, because they're pretty awesome. But they are injectable. So you basically have a consult with me, and we do an intake.
Needle? Like a needle?
It is a little insulin needle. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's an insulin needle. You don't really feel it. It's like the smallest needle that we make, but you will love the results.
How often? Where's your office at, or where's your place at?
Yeah, so I work virtually. I run a telehealth platform. And you can go to that by just going to teamwellness.org. You can schedule an appointment with me and work virtually.
We'll put that in the links, you guys. The link, the description, and everything. We'll put that in there.
But I do have an office in Beverly Hills if you need to come see me for like manual therapy and I need to put my hands on you and work on you. I have an office in Beverly Hills.
Michigan.
But Beverly Hills, Michigan. It's right down south.
Just to clarify, because we get a lot of people on
Beverly
YouTube,
Hills,
right?
Michigan. Yeah, but I'm really able to help so many people virtually, because we can ship these peptides all over the United States. And the protocols, how long you take them, are different for each different, peptide protocol. The one that is most common in the sports industry, though, would be the Wolverine protocol. So that's the stack of the BPC 157 and the TB 500. And we call it the Wolverine protocol because it literally like makes you regenerate like Wolverine. And I'm like, it's just amazing. A 100% success rate with this.
Out of how many people?
So far, I mean, I've helped.
What's the average age of clients that you work with?
19, 21, 20, 21 years.
Hey, when you're a professional athlete.
I know.
Okay.
You like, it's my opinion, because I know I've researched peptides. I've been in the supplement industry. The more stress you put on your body, the more you need to supplement vitamins or the peptides.
Mm-hmm,
so,
absolutely.
So
I treat people of all ages with peptides. From the early 20s. Even and actually a couple teenagers at this point too, of course, like with their parents, treat people of all ages with the peptides. It's a 100% success rate, all ages. A recent example I'll give you is someone came to me, late 40s, marathon runner. He would do like those triathlon, like those 100-mile races.
Wow.
Both the knees were blown out. Like bone on bone.
Was it David Goggins?
No.
Okay.
But and and he had like a had maybe like a rotator cuff injury or something like that with the shoulder, right? But he was focused on the knees. He wanted to do like one last hurrah. He had like this 100-mile race that he wanted to do. I started him on the peptides. I think he did the peptides for like 30 days, prepping for the race.
Mm-hmm.
He completed the race.
Can you get results in that short amount of time?
Yes.
Wow.
So he completed the race. He said 50 miles in, he blew his Achilles tendon out. He blew his Achilles tendon, and he finished the race.
Wow.
And he said his knees didn't bother him the whole time, and it fixed his shoulder too.
Wow.
So
That's
the cool
career-ending injury, Kobe Bryant.
His Achilles.
Yeah. So, just really amazing. I treat some of the strongest, most impressive athletes in the world. And I mean, I don't want to like start to name drop because I mean, we do follow HIPAA guidelines, you know, but I mean, I'm treating people with, you know, multiple spinal fusions that are able to get up out of their bed without pain. And I mean, this is life changing because it's not like an opiate. It's not like an NSAID. You know what I mean? We're not just putting a Band-Aid on the problem. You're actually telling your body to regenerate and heal, up the stem cell production, heal the tissue. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you're telling your body to do.
So training jiu-jitsu and like jiu-jitsu has to be like everybody should do it in some capacity, right?
Yes.
And it's good for the heart, it's the mind, the body, it's good for the
body,
soul.
mind, and soul.
Supplements and peptides, that's like the step up. I believe should be available to everybody, but it's not covered by insurance. It's elective. So, and I've had many of our members. We have a lot of masters in our team that are really interested in the peptides. I've talked to students and other BJJ practitioners all across the country, but the one thing that's holding them back is it's expensive, and it's like it's made for the rich or the elite.
How much is it?
It's not as expensive as stem cells or exosomes, and it's not as expensive as what it's going to cost you to not be well. First of all,
well, there's a cost either way, though. You know, like
well, maintaining general health is one thing, but if you want to go on a 100-mile run, like you're gonna need some help there. If you want to be in your 40s and above and train jiu-jitsu, like you don't need to do that, but if you want to do that, then you're gonna need some help, and it's just expensive. So can you speak to that, and like, is there a range that people could expect to pay, and is there other alternative methods for people like you, who you're going into your 40s and you're like, I still want to train, I still want to get in shape. How can the peptide industry help support those people? Because, I mean, you know, they'll be functionally able to train, but they're just better human. It's like, you know, jiu-jitsu is good for the mind, body, and soul, and they need it. And in order to do it, they're going to need some help.
Right.
That's affordable.
To help prevent and recover faster.
Yeah, so can you talk to the people who are like, you know, they're not making enough money to support, to pay for it? Like,
yeah, so
I mean, turn people away in your industry, or
well, so there definitely is a cost, you know, but ultimately, you know, just really taking care of yourself, your diet, making sure you have enough water, making sure you have, you know, your minerals and everything is going to go such a long way. This is the next step. It does require a financial investment, but with all the other things I've done with regenerative medicine, it really is like the least amount you can do besides like the basic things of, like I said, Celtic salt, making sure you're getting enough water, making sure you're getting enough magnesium, and making sure you're moving. You know what I mean? Like, those are like your core, right? And like, aside from that, this is really, it really isn't that bad. I mean, you know, something like the exosomes, a vial of that, you know, you're looking at like $7,000. You know, if you want to cure cancer or something with the blood from the babies, it's going to cost you $70,000. Wow. You know what I mean? PRP, like a joint injection, you know, you might have to go for two or three of those. I was doing those before I really got into the peptides, and I guess we could still offer them, but I don't really see a need to, because the peptides, in my opinion, are more effective, and they're more affordable, and they're less risk. I don't have to involve a doctor. I don't have to, do this injection that could possibly get infected because it's going into your kneecap, and like it's this, a subcutaneous injection carries way less risk. So there's just, there's lots of, those would kind of be, but it is a financial investment, absolutely. But I don't think, in compared with everything else, that it's should be out of reach for everybody.
Well, and we have this conversation a lot too. I mean, people say jiu-jitsu is expensive, but it's like, all right, look, let's pull up your bank statement, dog. Like, pull it. Like, let's kind of see what we spent on, what do we spend on? I'm just going to use the cliche: lotto tickets, restaurants, what's your car pay? And I think there's, the old phrase, make time for your health and make time for your illness.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm 50. I'm going to be 51 in a couple months, right?
Yeah.
And so I could train with anybody in the gym, right? But not for long. And if I do 4 or 5 matches in a day, I'm out for I'm going to have inflammation in my body the rest of the week. And I know peptides could help me, but, and I'm using myself as an example. So I could maybe get 1 or 2 rolls a day. I could teach a little bit, but if I want to get more benefit of jiu-jitsu, guys in their late 40s and 50s, it would definitely help them. But the question becomes, if I want to get more of the benefit, I have to pay for it through the peptides. And what is that worth? I'm a school owner. It might be a little different because it's my career and it's my job right now. But I'm asking for the other 50-year-olds. I'm asking for the other, 40-year-olds that they're onto something good in jiu-jitsu and they want to do it more, but physically their body won't let them do it. And I'm sure you've seen it before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they just want to be on the mat, but they can't. And then your first year in jiu-jitsu, probably year, I think that's where the most injuries could potentially happen because you don't know that you're essentially rolling or doing technique to get away from how the body naturally moves. That's where the injuries happen. Mm-hmm. As you get more educated in jiu-jitsu and the technique, then you know where to go, not because it's the wrong technique, because it's dangerous to your body to put it in that position. So, again, I'm asking for those people that, and I've been, because of the supplement industry, the one thing that's kept people away is a financial investment. So,
well, I don't think it's as expensive as most.
What is it for our viewers that what could they expect to pay? Let's talk about an over 40 person.
Yeah, so if you have if you're suffering from an injury, maybe you tore your ACL, you tore your rotator cuff,
Say recovery. So just man, I get myself. I got to take Motrin before I train. It's the best thing out there, but it's not good.
One in each vehicle.
So everybody's everybody's individual though. I mean, I look at somebody as a whole, so I like to look at their lifestyle. You know what I mean? You're gonna be different than this guy over here. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing.
South African
Coach Keanu.
Yeah. So the second thing, like I said, if there was an injury, we would do a 12-week protocol where you're doing an injection every day for 12 weeks, and generally you might spend about $1,500 on that. Okay, which for 12 weeks of a daily
3 months.
3 months is really not that bad. I don't know what people are spending on their prescription medications, their trips to the doctors, and all that, but I really don't think that's bad, as far as for something like you, maybe you just want to recover better, maybe you just want to do 10 days, out of the month, and then you see how long those effects last, because what these peptides do is, first of all, they target all the inflammation in your body, and it's going to bring down the inflammation.
It's a freaking killer.
Inflammation.
I didn't know what it was 5 years ago, and now it consumes my life.
So it's not going to be one of those things where it's you take a Norco or something, and then when that wears off, the inflammation's still there, and it starts to come back tenfold, and then you're oh my gosh, I need to take another one. This is not like that. Yeah. Okay, it doesn't. You don't develop
exactly how it is too.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
If you don't develop a dependency on them, there's no kind of withdrawal, because they work with the natural systems in your body to heal and regenerate. So that's one. So like I said, if you were just, or say you're prepping for Worlds and you wanted to like just be your strongest, best, and you're like doing, three a day or whatever, you could
I
do.
could do that.
You could do
If I could do 2-a-day training sessions, there's no price you could put on that for me. Like if I could do 2-a-day sessions to get back and prep and prepare, just the
Sure it is.
fact
Something
of
like-
Sounds like about $200 a month or $300 a
Right.
month in peptides. That's what it sounds
for
like.
for somebody my age, you think it will sustain them to go through a camp to train twice a day and physically be able to get through that?
I really feel like Superman when I take Superwoman when I mean
That's crazy.
it's really amazing. Like I said, I help some of the strongest, most impressive athletes in the world
I'm breaking a
optimize
rule.
their health.
I'm breaking a rule here. You're not supposed. Mama taught me not to ask women their age, but for the sake of this context, how old are we, Katie?
I'm 38.
All right, 38. So it's not like it's not like she's a 20-year-old talking about I feel like Superwoman. You're 38
Yeah,
years
I'm
old.
38 years old. 2 kids.
Yeah.
I've raised one to adulthood. I'm 38 years old. Yep. 10 years of jiu-jitsu, broken fingers, torn ACLs. I cut my eye, actually. This was the worst injury
that's
I've
gnarly.
had. Isn't that?
From
Look at that.
jiu-jitsu?
I caught a knee, and it was like the craziest. It was just one of those freak accidents, and it was like a fountain of blood, But it healed up really fast, like me, like the Wolverine. Like it literally did. It healed up so fast.
So, and so the peptides too, because I think it's important. You talk about like masking symptoms, and that's all things like Motrin and Norco.
Yes.
Whatever those painkillers. They
Hey, Motrin and Norco are 2 different classes.
well,
But they're
just
masking
one is
the
one, but
symptom.
one's just a lot more powerful. Like they're not repairing the body in the terms of the things. And I know when we had that stem cell workshop for
And
a
they
couple
cause damage. Not only that, they cause damage.
but not stem cells.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry,
Norco and Motrin.
Yes,
so
the pharmaceuticals.
but the stem cells that was
That was amazing.
like 7,000 for a couple.
Mhm.
Oh, there's different
Yeah, there's different
amounts of
levels.
things you can do, but that's like $7,000, and then it could last for a duration, which obviously it helps. But in terms of hey,
Did you do stem cells? You
I
said?
did.
I did
Oh,
not,
you did? How
no.
long do you think they lasted? Like the effects from them?
I would say minimum 6 months, 6 to
Good, good.
8 months or 8 months.
So
plus.
these peptides will upregulate your own body's stem cell production as well, which is part of how they work.
I felt like my cognitive function. I had just got out of back surgery, and a few months prior, and I wanted to get back to training, and I wanted to compete.
Yeah.
Again, so I actually 6 months afterwards. It was 6 months afterwards I competed.
Wow,
In
6
Atlanta.
months after back surgery. That's amazing.
Yeah, 6 to.
I'm trying to remember. They're running together now.
Yeah,
Where'd you compete at? Was it Dallas?
No, Atlanta.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
and
because you just you're like I am leaving. It was like the tournament was Saturday, and you're like, oh yeah, I registered by the way on Wednesday or something.
Yeah, and I only did it I really only competed to strengthen my mental. It was like a mental thing, and but anyway, 6 months afterwards, I felt good, and I was training for maybe a couple months, and the clarity I had in my head cognitively was probably one of the biggest things that I noticed from stem cell.
Yeah, nice.
Well, and there's I think there's, because we're doing so much damage to our body, and it's not just the training. You need to, if you want to be competitive, you should be doing a form of cardio outside if you can, cycling, running, lifting, and all of those things. I don't know if the viewers can hear what can sound like childish mayhem through those doors, but those are my 3 kids, and Scarlett is screaming at them. I'm cracking. I don't think they can hear it though. But you should be doing all of that as well, and
We
that
also
just
have a full summer camp program.
yeah,
running
those
downstairs.
we can't hear. Yeah, those can't that we can't hear. But it just kind of wears on it, and then it becomes to me too. You can say talk about stretching, and you do these things, and now it's like so now it's another half hour, 45-minute a day regimen to do these. Not that I'm like looking for a pill, but if I'm like, wait, if I could just get like an injection or another treat, like that would help, and it's actually going in. I'm just picturing like this like. I think building blocks is an appropriate thing. Imagine you push a brick wall over, like that you destroyed your body, and then these peptides are the masons that just come and kind of rebuild it, rather than just putting up a boarding it up or a tarp, right? Which is all that kind of like things like Motrin and just painkillers. That's all they're doing,
Right.
is kind of covering them. So. I do want to go back to. Can we go back to cannabis real quick?
Yeah.
Because I think these are.
We can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, this is. I've never heard. But do we have comments, by the way? My comments are not showing up. Apparently, it stopped with Chad Hubert.
Testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a guy named John Garner.
John Garner. Yeah, he's a good friend. Went to church together. A client of mine, and sold him a house. What did he say?
John
War
says-
vet. Thank you, John.
John says, a lot of people become dependent on it though, and it rewires your dopamine track, so you got to be careful with it. I don't disagree with it, but I also don't condone it for kids and as recreation. I'm in the psych field, and it absolutely is horrible for a growing brain. It rewrites your brain chemistry and alters your serotonin and dopamine levels, making people more dependent on it.
I wonder if
I
is he talking about
100% agree with it. Talking about cannabis is what
Cannabis,
he's talking
okay,
about.
yeah.
Yes. And yeah, absolutely, it can definitely do that, and overuse is a thing. Like I said, you can get hyperemesis. There is an actual syndrome from overusing cannabis.
So what
Absolutely.
you mentioned? So you mentioned.
And just one more other comment.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Aaliyah Ardell.
Ardell, yeah, that's
Sure.
Aaliyah Ardell. So she's trained with us. I don't even know how many.
She's competed in Ganja Grappler.
Yeah, I know she
Yeah.
has. So she
She
has.
just said, "Yay, Katie."
Yay!
Yeah, I can't.
I love you too, girl.
They're not showing up on here. I don't know why. But where's that? Where was that at?
That's on Facebook.
Facebook Metro. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah, it's not showing. That's all right.
In regards to John Garner's comments, I guess just to sum it up, it's the idea that it's good for the brain in some ways, but definitely not for growing brains.
Correct. Yes, like I said, unless there's some
Cannabis we're
kind of
talking about.
medical need,
Yeah, we
like I
would.
said, like if a child is having seizures or if they have cancer, you know what I mean? Then the risk would outweigh the benefit.
What? So, I guess let's start with a few questions. You had mentioned you had like an aha moment. You're like, oh, you were using recreational marijuana as a minor, right? And I was like, I think 16, 17. So I wasn't like 12, but actually maybe been younger. I can't remember. 15, 16.
Whoa,
They-
that's a growing brain.
I was just gonna
It
say.
might have been 15.
Effects.
It might have been,
Effects.
might have
That
been
explains.
15, 16, 17. Yeah, 15, 16, 17. And so, like, when you hear that, what is your brain to, like, oh, well, that can definitely alter your brain? Like, in what way? Like, am I.
Yeah.
What
So,
did
well,
I-
I mean,
what
I
did I
think
do?
the expert said it the best. Really, is it can rewire the serotonin and dopamine, and it can definitely affect the growing brain. How it does it, I don't think that we fully understand yet. Is part of the thing too. We don't fully understand how it affects the
I see.
developing brain because the legalities surrounding cannabis are so new. We're figuring it out. You know what I mean? But what we see so far, we know it can be harmful, but we're still learning.
But and so then we can also someone like me who you mentioned the Bible preaches every fruit without that has a seed or whatever, but then it also says be not drunk with wine, don't be filled with the Spirit. So that's saying you can't take anything that's going to affect the way you think, right? So like a lot of common misconception, a lot of people think that Christians that they don't drink, right? You can drink, just can't get drunk, right? And so same thing with marijuana. I'm like, I don't even know how you can how to consume. I guess it's called microdosing now, but I was like, I can't see how to consume marijuana without getting high. And so my thing is just kind of stay away from it. I've never heard that you can effectively just use the buds or the plants unheated, which is crazy to me. That reminds me of like caffeine. Like coffee beans aren't caffeinated until you roast them. And so like
that
it's
is
similar.
similar.
Kind of similar.
Well, another thing we do is we make suppositories, like for people to take rectally. And when you take the Delta
I'm
9,
good. I'm good.
You know
I'm
what though?
good.
For
I'm
people
straight.
when you see people with stage 4 colon cancer come into complete remission.
Sure.
I mean,
Wow.
yeah, that's the kind of
stage 4.
Yes, complete
Oh my
remission.
gosh.
Stage 4 squamous cell carcinoma of the colon, complete remission. And that's part of too was like the whole thing, with the ganja grappa. Like I was still, cultivating the cannabis. We'd have all this excess. It was like we would have this event. We would share it with the friends. We'd take the excess, and I would donate it to somebody that needed it. So the last time we did it, it was to a young woman named Jennifer. She had stage 4 squamous cell carcinoma of her colon. I made her suppositories, and we were able to put her into remission. So
Stop
amazing.
It. That's incredible.
And I've also treated people with stage 4 gliomas in the brain, effectively putting them into remission.
So how about someone who doesn't have stage 4 cancer but just wants the benefits of medicinal cannabis for because I have heard it helps with inflammation.
Right. So you can take it.
And I don't want to get high doing it.
Right. So like I said, the raw cannabis, you can obviously control the dose by microdosing. You can use cannabis topically. You can put cannabis in your belly button, and you can use it rectally. When you do it topically in your belly button rectally, you don't experience the psychoactive effects like you would if you were to smoke it or eat it.
Is that? But it's still
So
will it still absorb and get all the benefits of it?
Yes. So the delta 9 THC is actually that one of those molecules that causes the cancer cells to eat themselves. Okay, so the cancer eats itself with the delta 9 THC. So in order to get a higher dose of the delta 9 THC without causing like an absurd amount of psychoactive effects, like I said, then that's where we give it to you in the higher concentrated dosage through the navel, through the rectum, through the skin.
And it's like that would be a topical ointment type thing, like a CBD ointment.
Yeah, like I said, topically, like on the skin, or if you had a skin cancer, you would put it onto the skin, and you would not a CBD. You would want to do a full spectrum cannabis. So you want all the cannabinoids that work together.
That's right. I'm sorry, because the CBD is just like one of the one.
Right, it is just one of the components.
And then, okay, and all right. Now, when you say microdosing. I'm just thinking, I guess that would be a way if you just get a. What is that product even called?
If you decide to microdose or take anything before training, please let me know because I have to be there.
Yeah, dude. I'm not gonna.
Okay, so if you don't want any of like the psychoactive effects,
I don't. I really don't.
Like
I don't
said,
want the paranoia, the munchies. I don't need any of that.
Smoothie, raw, but the thing that would, but it would be hard to get that unless you grew it yourself. So if you want to go into a dispensary, like I said, and if you had a certain, if something was bothering you, like your elbows messed up, I would try topical, you know what I mean? But if you just wanted to like enhance your performance a little bit, I would try like a really low dose of a full spectrum.
Give him a low dose, and I want to know what day and time.
A really low dose of a full spectrum ointment.
It was like a full spectrum edible, like you'd want to eat it, and just take like a really low dose. Like I said, unless you want to do it rectally the night before.
I don't. I'm good. I'm straight. Like I'm good.
Or like in your belly button, you could do that the night before. You know what I mean? But that would just help regulate your systems, help everything work better, help lower the inflammation in your body.
Okay, but so they sell the full. They sell the. So you said like right now, neck, shoulder, elbow, and probably my knees are a train wreck, right? And so that would just be go to a dispensary. So do they sell the full spectrum, not the CBD ointment like I have in my brain?
Mm-hmm.
Full spectrum.
A friend of mine makes something called Chill Medicated that's available in most dispensaries. Okay. It's a brand and it's a topical. Works great. Great product. Great ingredients.
It's the full spectrum stuff of all the cannabinoids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Does it give you the psychoactive effect?
No, not when you apply it topically.
Yeah. All right. Good. Okay. All right. And then
I think we're gonna get you on the right track with some peptides,
we're
though.
gonna,
When you
we're
got
gonna see. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to
And
check it out.
back to your question too, which I wanted to circle back around, because if you just wanted to do something, like I said, you were training for something, you just wanted to do like a little burst to see how they would be for about 10 days, that'd run you like $170. So really, to try peptides and see their advantage, I mean, reach out to me, because it's not really as
Steak dinner.
as unaffordable as you might think. Like I said, we do sell the larger packages for like a 12-week protocol. So I'm like, oh, $1,500, but I'll break it down. You know what I mean? Like, I am in this business to help people.
Yeah.
That is my passion.
Yeah,
And that's what makes me feel good. That's what's rewarding to me. So that's what I do.
Yeah, and I think for our viewers to hear it broken down like that, they would be more likely to say, "Let me try before I buy." And obviously, when you get the results, then you can see the value of what you're paying for.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure that are we going to put a link?
I'll get I'll get her website, and then,
Sure,
if you have a
lots of
calendar
people
link or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So.
And two, and we don't have to, because I know we've already been talking for a while, but it's like any kind of dysfunction happening in your body. Like I said, there's a peptide to fix it. Like whether your like sleep cycles need to be regulated, or whether you're suffering from like anxiety and depression, we have peptides that help rewire your brain and kind of boost your serotonin, your dopamine, and that brain derived neurotrophic factor, and reset all of those things as well.
That's good to know.
Do you
These
have
are
a test?
preventing anxiety, or these are preventing things though like Alzheimer's and dementia as well. So we're doing clinical trials to reverse the effects of Alzheimer's and dementia with some of these peptides as well, which is like so crazy that we're just like in that time, and the incidence of it happening at an early age is like, I mean, when I was younger, we didn't see that until like our grandparents, you know what I mean? But now people are getting it in their 50s. You know what I mean? Yeah, people are passing away in their 50s from like early onset Alzheimer's and dementia.
And peptides,
peptides can help with that.
Can help reverse
Absolutely. Yeah.
that. Is there a test? So you said there's specific peptides to specific conditions. Is there like a test that you do, or you just take that your patient, client, whatever, and they say, hey, I got back pain, hey, I got insomnia.
Yeah, so like I'm a holistic practitioner. When I do an intake with someone, I like to look at their life and their environment and their daily habits as a whole. I look at them as a whole person. I do have a medical director. We do offer like full panel lab tests and blood work as well, but mainly it's like a thorough assessment. Everybody's different in what they need and what kind of care that they're seeking. So that's just kind of individualized based on the person. But it's an assessment and an intake, and and we get you started. It's pretty easy, and we work a lot virtually, so you don't even have to leave the comfort of your home, and we can ship the peptides right to your door.
And they are like pinprick, like you said, pinprick.
Yeah, it's an insulin needle. And another thing, I also would like to touch on, right? So you can order peptides similar to this that you see online, but they all have disclaimers that they're for research use only. They're not for human or animal consumption. Those peptides are not regulated. They're made in other countries. They're shipped here. We don't know what
yours are regulated.
Mine are for clinical trials. We have an institutional review board. They're under way tighter restrictions and regulations. Only licensed healthcare practitioners. You can only get these through a licensed healthcare practitioner. You can't order the peptides that I get on your own. You know what I mean? So that is the difference. The purity. And just being able to, get that dosage protocol that, we know is effective, right?
It was like when I remember you talking about like supplements, and people would go like, oh, I get mine from Costco, and you're like, dude, that's not even like, that's not even like, I don't even know how they can sell those.
If you can order these online without a healthcare license, they're not the same peptides I have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not the same.
Yeah. So, well, that is a lot to take. That's a lot of info to take. I mean, even more so, right? Like I kind of did, learned a little bit about the peptides, which makes to me it reminded me of stem cell when they were talking about how it actually rebuilds. Like it reminded me of kind of what they were saying of you tear stuff down and this physically goes in and restores stuff. But
so what's your you're how old, Coach?
35.
35. So 35 years old, very, very active, training multiple times a day. Like, is this?
I can only do about one. Like I can only train jujitsu. Yeah, jujitsu. I don't do 2 a days, but I will lift and train in the same day. So I'll like lift in the morning, train at night.
Or you'll do your bike.
Peloton. Yeah, I do Peloton. I dig Peloton, and then train at night or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah. So so is this something that you would try? And what would be like? Do you know what percent or increase in recovery or functionality that would justify you saying, I'm going to switch to from some of my supplements to the peptides?
So
curious to get your opinion.
Yeah, so and that's a good question because like with anything is like what does success look like? What do results look like? So I can just do like a measurable weight, right? Like I used to be able to bench 225, 235, no problem. Like now it's about 150, and it's mainly because it's this my neck, shoulder, and elbow. Thanks, Steven. Ass like off that arm lock, like that sneak small ridge that like I'm playing with them. But like that it added to it. So that whole thing, I just right now holding this up right now is I'm in pain all the way up through my neck right to about my jawline, and so like this is limited mobility. So that would be like one. If I could get even full range and strength of this back, super helpful. Immediately, equally as much as my knees. Like my knees are. I can't. You see people like kind of.
Tell you what, I think this is gonna be your favorite podcast.
Yeah. So like people, I don't know if you can we zoom out on that camera? I can try and move it. Like this is about as far as this knee comfortably goes down, and I see people like, that's as far as this knee goes down. Like I can try and that's super painful. Like to
right. Like I'm gonna keep
both either one. I mean, it doesn't matter. That's why I sit like this. People. That's why I sit like this. People make fun of me, and they're like, but like this is a little better, but like that's all the way I feel it all the way through to my head.
What is it, your piriformis?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, my that's what I was thinking. My piriformis.
To be fair, you do zero stretching.
That's
zero.
Yes, you're 100%. And I don't want to take to me, it's like when I get done training, because it's like late. Like we got done with wrestling class at 8:45 yesterday. I'm like, let me spend another 20 minutes stretching here. I just kind of want to. I should probably stretch more. So those would be some. What would make it worth it to you? Like if I could have.
It's so worth it. Just wait till you try it.
Not the flexibility, the knee pain, the shoulder would be the biggest one.
Sorry.
The shoulder would be the biggest one because as a practical thing, like that affects me picking up my kids. Like I gotta load and squat down now, and even just carrying stuff like that's a very measurable metric. I've had to adjust how I play front headlock. I can't hip out the same way. I can't. I can't defend head arm chokes, and like I had one.
The next time you get beat, just know that the guy that beat you was probably using peptides.
Yeah. Was that it? So like that, and these are like the young guys. Like I think I was talking to you or Amanda. I'm like, dude, these guys are just stronger and faster. And they're like 20. They're like 20-year-old studs. So Nate,
all
Cody, they're just they're just like, and they're just. I'm like, man. So that would be like a litmus test for me. It's like if it could resolve those, like that'd be pretty sick. That's what that would look like for me. So at the moment, but then different injuries come and go. So we'll definitely put some links in the comments on all of these. I did share this to your page. I don't know
awesome.
I know you got to approve it, so that'll be approved, and I will also put this in the YouTube description. The links to your website, but how can Just so it's verbally, if people are like taking notes or whatever, like what's the best way to get in touch with you? Is there a website?
Yeah, just go to teamwellness.org and you can click schedule an appointment right at the bottom of the screen. That's the easiest way to put it.
Teamwellness.org, just like it sounds.
Yep.
So cool. Awesome. Any other comments, Coach Keanu, that I have not seen? I say, what do you
No
got?
comments on this side, but I do have one question.
Yep.
It's just the smell of cannabis. That's all.
Yeah.
I used to work at a movie theater for 4 years.
Mhm.
I have nothing against cannabis in general. I think it is a miracle drug. I think the physical applications of that plant are pretty amazing, like the plastic you can get from hemp and the fabric.
Yes.
So all that's incredible. It's just the smell.
Yeah, you don't like the smell.
I don't know what it is. Is it? I was
So
hoping.
what's your question?
I was hoping there was maybe you could give me more insight. If you knew why there's people that don't like the smell so adhesively, but I just can't get
Well,
behind it.
The terpenes are what's responsible for the smell in cannabis, and there's lots of different, some cannabis smells peppery, some cannabis smells citrusy, some cannabis smells skunky.
Yeah,
and
based
they
on your
have-
movie theater you're working at, yeah, there's probably a lot of skunk weed. Like
Yeah.
geographically, I'm guessing.
There's different profiles of sense and taste, and those terpenes also play like a synergistic effect in interacting with the cannabinoids. We call it the entourage effect, and they have a therapeutic effect as well. So the smell of the cannabis is actually therapeutic, and it works with the cannabinoids to, to treat you medically or to help regulate your system.
You're saying the smell is able
Part of
to
the therapeutic effect.
Aromatherapy.
And yet, if I'm having like an aggressive reaction to it, what does that say about me?
Well, hey, some people are allergic to it. Look, it's a weed. You can have an allergy. I mean, you can have an allergy to the dandelions. You can have an allergy to the weed too.
I'm not like
You know what I mean?
saying, like,
Yeah, no.
I just don't like it. So I was wondering.
Yeah, no,
I was
but I
hoping
mean,
there'd be like something to it because it was weird. Like every time.
oh, like you have a deficiency in like vitamin cannabis or something.
Yeah, I was like, what is there maybe like a subset of people that are
Take
having
more B12. I'm just joking with that. But
other than that, I think it's pretty miraculous in terms of what it is. I'm pretty convinced it came on an asteroid from somewhere out of space a long time ago. Just because of
Yes.
what it can do.
Preach.
But it's just, the smell is, it just kind of, I can't get behind it. And it's a bummer for me because I'm like, there's so much application to this that I'm like,
Have you ever used or tried it?
no. I also
His
was.
mom listens to this show, dog. We can't answer that.
Yeah.
I'm just playing.
I told my mom this. I said the only time I would ever like smoke weed and get like absolutely stoned is if she does it with me. So she was like, yeah. I'm not against it. It is one. I think at this age, I'm always afraid of like the brain stuff, like how it would affect my brain growing up. I went to an
how
arts.
old are you?
I'm 24 right now,
Okay.
but I also went to an art school in high school, and I was surrounded by stoners.
Right, and they say what the brain is fully developed at like 25. Is that where we cut that off?
So next year, then you don't have to worry about it.
Next year you'll be fine.
You didn't do damage. You didn't do irreversible damage like I apparently
But
did.
it's also smoking. I stayed away from smoking.
Well,
my whole
smoking
life.
is the least therapeutic way to take cannabis. You know what I mean? It's the least therapeutic. You get the least therapeutic benefits. It will help with some of the symptoms, but as far as like the real healing, that comes from ingesting it, orally or putting it on your skin or putting it in your body.
Yeah, I used to sell CBD. So with that, I saw the benefits of people. It was mainly two types of customers. It was older people in a lot of pain who swore by it. They swore by the bombs and the creams and all that stuff. And then people with animals.
Yeah,
The animal side of like CBD.
because we love our animals and we know it's helping them.
Apparently, yeah. People would say their dogs would be so much more calmer. Older dogs wouldn't be in so much pain. Like it was just a miraculous 180 for their dogs' conditions, cats' conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's it's a weird plan, but I was hoping there'd be a bit more in the smell. So that's good fun.
Well, we appreciate you coming out and hopping on, Katie. Definitely, everyone tuning in. Guys, check her out. What's the website again? Teamwellness.org. Okay, teamwellness.org, and we'll put it in the comments afterwards. Guys, as always, be sure to like if it's on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. You know, if you have any comments in here, you know, you can leave them for Katie. Comment, we'll tag her on it, and then she can, I'm sure,
I'd be happy to go back and answer some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you,
Everyone
Katie.
coming out.
Thank you.
As always, we'll see you guys on the mats.
Bye.